The other thing that St. Paul says is, it is no longer I who live, but it is Christ who lives in me. Wow, isn't that powerful? Wouldn't you and I love to be able to say that all the time? I don't know about you, but those words are very difficult to say and really do it. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, before my feet hit the ground, and before any thought has come into my head, I probably could say, it is no longer I who live, it is Christ who lives in me. But the minute people start coming into my mind, the minute I start thinking about situations, the minute I start doing other things, things, start agitating in my system, the best I can probably do is to say, Christ must increase, I must decrease. So there's always that struggle to really try to put on Christ. The other thing is, as Father mentioned, to enter into the Paschal Mystery. I love to always remember that Paschal Mystery, as Father so beautifully said, is not just a one-time event. We celebrate the Paschal Mystery year-round. And what the Paschal Mystery reminds us is that because Christ conquered death, no death again is terminal. No death. You see, you and I live, however many years you have lived, you have experienced many deaths. You experienced deaths when maybe you got laid off from a job. You experience a death when maybe somebody you love dies. You experience a death when you find you get out of bed and your body doesn't respond as it did 20 years ago, right? Getting more limited. You experience a death when you're alienated from someone you love, or somebody has betrayed you. Have you and I not experienced many deaths in life? Every death has two options. Every death you can choose it to be a terminal death or a paschal death. In other words, you can allow that death to destroy something in you, to make you less than what you were called to be. Or you can take that death and make it a paschal experience. Find in that cross and in that suffering the resurrection. I think of a couple in the parish that I worked at. Their son was killed riding a motorcycle. I think that probably the most painful thing is when a parent has to bury a child. So that death was profound in their lives. Did they wish it hadn't happened? Of course. Could they have changed it if they could have? They would have, but they couldn't. But that death was a reality. What they did with that death is that they would look in the paper, and if they ever found the story of somebody's child being killed on a motorcycle in the Buffalo area, they would go to that funeral home and offer their condolences to the family. Because they felt, they understood a little bit of the pain that that family experienced. So they took that death experience and tried to find new life from it. All of us have to take whatever death experiences we have in our lives and make new resurrection moments from them. I won't get too much into that because Father certainly covered it very beautifully. The other thing, we have to work on ongoing growth and learning. We cannot just kind of stay stagnant. We have to constantly grow. I have a note here, I can't read my own writing. Oh, I know what I have here. I have a sister, and she has a plant from my mother. Okay, now this plant has to be at least 50 years old because my mother had it when we were kids, and she took it after my mother died and continues it. And so that, in a sense, is the same plant that was sitting in my house when I was a little girl. Because she nurtured it, she cared for it, she gave it water, it responded. And so too, all of us are called to continue to grow and to learn. It always bothers me when people say, I think I know all there is to know about my faith. I remember when I was teaching 6th grade, I was giving out the New Testaments to my students. I never taught school, I always taught religious education. So, as good as it, so I'm giving out the New Testaments, right? And the kid looks at the New Testament, he picks it up and he throws it across the room. And he says to me, "We had that last year." I can still see this kid say, "Oh, we had that last year." I think it was you're going to have that the rest of your life, buddy. This is the Word of God. This is your guide, your manual. This is your love letter from God. This isn't something you just take and then just walk away from. This is something you will have to unpack all the time. Like somebody said to me, I always like to see a movie at least twice because I missed so much the first time. We need to read the scriptures over and over because truly we miss so much the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all those times. Plus, we are in a different space and a different place each time we hear that story again. So when you're at Mass and the priest says, a reading according to Luke, a man had 2 sons. And you think, oh God, I've heard this story so many times. And we just shut down, right? That story has to be ever fresh, ever new, because that is the living Word of God. And God has something to say to you at that point in your life with that story. So to always be aware. And that's why it's so beautiful to make that triple sign of the cross so that we can hear it again, understand it, speak it, and love it. Perhaps for the first time, like that Kellogg's commercial says, right? Try it again for the first time. Always listen to the scriptures for the first time. And then the last piece, and the disciple always has an attitude of gratitude. I remember reading a book once, it was called Healthy Traits of, I don't remember, something, Healthy Traits of Spirituality or something like that, Healthy Spirituality for Healthy Living, I don't know. But anyways, the one chapter was on gratitude, and that was the line. Have an attitude of gratitude, because people who are grateful are people who can make connections. A grateful person can make connections. They know that it's never always about them. That it's always because of someone else. That because we're connected, because of our relationship with Christ, or whatever the case might be. So, any questions or comments? All right, I'll just continue that.